Hi everybody, I'm David Gould, Product Manager, Product Designer for Pro Tools software here at AES 2011. I'm just going to talk a little bit about Pro Tools 10 and specifically the AAX plugin format. So AAX is our new plugin format. It stands for AVID Audio Extension, and this has been brought about due to our new hardware platform, Pro Tools HDX. This uses this new plugin format, AAX, and the great thing about AAX plugins is they can be a single plugin, a single algorithm, and it can either be compiled as a native-based processor or as a DSP-accelerated processor. So previously with TDM and RTAS plugins, you'd have to make completely different plugins, so plugin manufacturers would have to write completely different plugins for the two formats, whereas now they can write a single plugin and just make it either a DSP plugin or a native plugin. It's a much more modern SDK, so it's a completely rewritten SDK. It's 64-bit ready, so it's going to be an easy transition for plugin manufacturers moving over to that. And the great thing about the new mixer architecture for Pro Tools HDX is that it's a full 32-bit floating point mixer throughout. So now the plugins sound identical whether they're being hosted natively on the host or on the DSP acceleration. So one of the new things in Pro Tools 10 is the ability to work with 32-bit floating point audio files. Now, whilst our digital D2A converters and A to D converters are still 24-bit converters, once you actually get into the system, into the mixing environment, you can now work with these 32-bit floating point files. So if you're recording internally within Pro Tools, you can be recording 32-bit floating point files, so you get this much greater dynamic range available within your actual audio files. So it really means that throughout the entire signal chain, with the mixer also being 32-bit, you're never having to truncate any bits anywhere. So once you're within the system, everything remains as a 32-bit signal path throughout. Okay, so session compatibility between Pro Tools 10 and previous systems. Pro Tools 10 actually uses a new session file format, the .ptx format. So in order to go back to a previous version of Pro Tools, you need to do a save copy in and choose the 7 to 9 format. Now, if you do that, you'll lose certain things like clip gain, but you can actually choose to render clip gain into the files, so you're not actually losing any data. And then when you open up in Pro Tools 9 or previous, all of your fades will automatically regenerate, because real-time fades are one of the new things in Pro Tools 10, and so it will recalculate all of those fades when it opens up in 9. It will just think it can't find the fade files folder. Now, opening version 9 sessions in 10, as soon as you open them up, they obviously open up fine in 10, and we'll just recreate the audio files as, the fade regions as real-time fades. So you no longer need the fade files folder, but it just automatically knows how to recompile the fades as real-time fades. So you can, one of the great things about Pro Tools is you can pretty much open any session from any era. You can take a Pro Tools 5 session and it will open up in Pro Tools 10. And if you really want to, you can take a Pro Tools 10 session and again choose to do a save copy in and save to a version 5 format session. So you can go back and further, as we've always offered. So it's kind of amazing that however old your session is, you're probably going to be able to open it in Pro Tools 10. So Pro Tools 10 supports both HDX and Pro Tools HDXL, the TDM-based version. Now, some of the hardware limitations of the HDXL system mean that some of the new features aren't available. So things like automatic delay compensation, which has gone up to 16,000 samples for HDX and for native systems. That's just not possible with Pro Tools HDXL, unfortunately. So that's still limited at 4,000 samples of delay comp with HDXL. Similarly, the voice count and track count increases. Pro Tools HD is limited by the hardware at 192 voices, whereas HDX is 256 per card, and also the Pro Tools native system now goes up to 256 voices as well. So due to legacy hardware limitations of the TDM hardware, those things remain as that.
Hi, I'm Ozzy Sutherland, application specialist over here at AVID, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit about Yukon Phase 2. In Yukon Phase 2, one of the things implemented on the System 5 and on the System 5 MC is that you now get the EQ graphs over here on the surface from anything inside of in Pro Tools. So you now have control over the EQ graph and the new channel strip plugin inside of Pro Tools 10, and also EQ3 has their graphs show up on the System 5 TFTs now. There's also 500 new Yukon commands implemented, so you can now get to those commands on Artist Series, System 5, and System 5 MC. And then there's a lot of just, general enhancements inside of the software for Yukon, speed enhancements and everything else to make it more robust and a much more, let me say, better protocol now for Pro Tools and Pro Tools users to interface with the console. You can also access all the automation commands within Pro Tools now from the soft keys and the soft switches, so you can get to modes like auto join, preview, punch preview, all the modes everyone's been asking for we can now get to. You can also get to all your satellites and control all the 12 satellites within Pro Tools 10 and get to different menus, your setup menu, your preferences menu, your I/O setup, really quick. You don't have to worry about using the mouse and keyboard as much anymore. It's all going to be there at your fingertips to grab on all the control surfaces. So the channel strip plugin in Pro Tools, which you see right here, is actually based upon the System 5 DSP EQ dynamics algorithm. It's an exact replica of the System 5 DSP. So you now have the sound of S5 inside of Pro Tools with the channel strip plugin.
So you've got the whole compatibility when you're working. You can have a DSP channel next to a Pro Tools channel, and the layout of the parameters for EQ and dynamics, whether it's in System 5 DSP or Pro Tools, it's the same user interface, the same algorithms. So it's really good for dual workflow, working within the DAW and DSP at the same time.
So one of the newest features in Pro Tools 10 is clip gain. What used to be regions is now clips in Pro Tools 10, and here I'll show you how simple it is to just change the gain on one of your clips. There's a little oh crap! Stop 1 second. Stop. Let me do something here. There you go. There's a little indication now on your clips where you have your dB level, and you just click that and you get a little fader, and now you can raise the level or lower the level of a clip really quickly. This is extremely powerful for post-production users and also music production, because it's very simple now to go in and level things out on the fly as you're going along, not having to worry about things, and it's a great new feature in Pro Tools 10. And you'll see us all in Japan at Interbe. We'll be in Japan at Interbe very soon to show you all of this.